What's going on, everybody? If you're seeing this page, that means the official Torn Rain Reloaded merch store is now available. To get access to the store, make sure you go ahead and click the store tab on my YouTube channel. From there, you will be able to see all the merch that is available. We have mugs, shirts, hoodies, joggers, and so much more to come. All original designs made by yours truly, Torn Rain Reloaded. Now go ahead and get your merch today, and you can feel nothing in style.
Developing tonight, an employee facing charges after a deadly encounter at a store in Kansas City, Kansas.
We first brought you this story on Tuesday when we learned about the homicide at O'Reilly Auto Parts. KSHB 41's Alyssa Jackson is live from the store near 47th and Parallel. Alyssa, is there still a police presence there?
Actually, Dia and Kevin, there is. You know, we came and we didn't expect to see a couple police officers and crime scene tape still up because this happened a couple days ago. But here they are. It looks like they're kind of standing watch at the O'Reilly store. We know the victim, Diamond Steen, was 23 years old. He went into this store, and all we know is there was an altercation that an autopsy indicates ended with him being strangled. Kemppainen was an employee of this store, and he's facing up to 40 years in prison.
Kansas City, Kansas O'Reilly Auto Parts employee Kemppainen is accused of second-degree murder in the death investigation of 23-year-old Diamond Steen.
Did unlawfully and unintentionally, but recklessly, under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life, kill a human being.
Police reported Steen walked in the store along with another person who was injured but survived. They were accused of shoplifting before a confrontation with several employees and non-employees.
Regardless of whether or not the victim was committing a crime, you're saying that an employee cannot take the law into their own hands, correct?
Let there be no mistake. It is law enforcement's job to do the policing.
Wyandotte County District Attorney Mark Dupree added Steen's airway was completely stopped.
There's some rumors that there was a knee on the victim's neck and that he was hog-tied. Are you able to say anything about that?
I cannot discuss in detail some of those facts. What I will tell you is that based off of the autopsy, it is clear that strangulation was ultimately the cause of death.
At this point in the investigation, there is a lot that is still possible, including additional charges. But at this point, the DA says race is not being considered.
I cannot say that there is a racial component besides the reality of the deceased is an African American and the defendant is a white man.
It is also not lost on DA Dupree the way this situation escalated from an altercation to a life or death situation.
It is never something that should happen. No one should ever feel that this is what steps should be taken. And so was it a surprise? Yes. Do I wish that it didn't happen? Yes.
The district attorney's office has reviewed some video obtained from the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department and video that's been circulating around social media. We know this incident is still under investigation, and they're actually looking at 3 other individuals, a mix of employees and non-employees who were present, to see if they committed a crime. Thea and Kevin.
Several of you have sent me this article or this story for the last couple of days or so. Trust and believe me, I have seen it, but you know how busy I can get because I get so many stories all the time. But now I have finally worked my way around to actually talking about this story. And this audio that you heard from this news clip was more of an update from what had been already previously reported about what was already put out about this story involving this man by the name of Kemppainen, who strangled this black man to death inside of a auto parts store. Now, y'all heard right there in the audio that they say he faces up to about 40 years in prison for what he did, and he's been arrested and he has been charged with second-degree murder. And of course, you know, the usual suspects are very upset about that. And when I heard about this story, I immediately, and by default, I immediately thought of two instances now that I think about it. Of course, Derek Chauvin, because of the way that this man was on this guy's neck, just like Derek Chauvin. I think they heard him say he was hogtied, like the epitome of doing too much. Then, of course, recently, back in May, with Daniel Penny and what he did to Jordan Neely. And I'm guessing he probably thought he was going to do the same exact thing in this situation, but it's looking kind of bleak for him right now, but we ain't going to jump for joy just yet as far as the consequences with him. It just says that he's been charged, he's been arrested, and what he could be facing. But anything could turn around at any given point. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this article that was posted September 23rd, which ironically I believe was the same day or maybe a day after the audio y'all just heard from the news clip. That's coming from meall.com. It says a 39-year-old auto parts dealer employee in Kansas City was arrested after he reportedly strangled a 23-year-old to death whom he thought was shoplifting from the business. The key words there for me in that statement was who he thought was shoplifting, not that he was, but whom he thought was shoplifting. The presumption that this person was committing a crime when they possibly weren't. But see, the thing is, dead people don't talk. So now what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to look at the surveillance footage, and then they're going to have to get witness testimony from the people that were there. They said employees and non-employees alike to break down what happened. But apparently they have something there. If they arrested this man and charged him with second-degree murder and said what he could be facing. So that means they probably have something there, because usually in cases like these, and we've seen it over and over again, they don't rush to do charges like this. Keep in mind, this just happened. It's not like this happened months ago. This happened like within the last week. So it's probably something there, but again, we ain't going to jump for joy. But again, going back to what I was saying, whom he thought was shoplifting, not that he was, but who he thought was shoplifting. And remember, they said there was another person there as well, but they're okay, they're alive. Carl Kemppainen was taken into custody on Thursday, September 21st, and charged with 1 count of second-degree murder, unintentional, but reckless in the slaying of Diamond Steen. Now, they say reckless. They said reckless, meaning he basically acted outside of the bounds of what he should have been doing if he thought or assumed somebody was shoplifting. Meaning there's procedures that should be followed there, and he didn't do it. He went outside of his of what he was supposed to be doing. This also reminds me of another story that happened in another state a couple years ago. I think it happened before the pandemic, where you had this I guess you could say this Arab convenience store owner or worker. He basically followed this black boy or this black kid outside of the store and chased him because he assumed that the black kid stole something. I don't know if the kid did or if he didn't, but he chased him down out of the store, and then he ended up shooting him like in a back alley somewhere. Some of y'all probably remember what story I'm talking about. I can't remember all the details, but I do remember talking about it. I'm sure the video is probably somewhere on this channel. Make no mistake, it is law enforcement job to do the policing, no one else's. Wyandotte County District Attorney Mark Dupree said in a Thursday news conference announcing the charges against Kemppainen. In a press release, the Kansas City Police Department said the incident occurred at about 6 p.m. on Tuesday at the O'Reilly Auto Parts store in the 4700 block of Parkway. According to a probable cause affidavit obtained by Kansas City, Missouri, NBC affiliate KSHB TV, first responders arrived just after 6 p.m. and immediately found Steen unresponsive. Emergency medical services personnel tried CPR, but it was already too late by then and declared him dead on the scene. An autopsy report stated that the victim's death was a homicide and the cause was strangulation. On Thursday, the DA revealed few details about the alleged murder, but did say that Steen's airway was completely stopped. Authorities said that the incident unfolded when Steen and another individual whose name has not been reported came into the store and were suspected of stealing multiple items, the Kansas City Star reported. Steen and the other man were apparently confronted by store employees, which led to an argument that escalated and became violent. A video of the incident reportedly went viral on Facebook and TikTok that showed store employees detaining the two men on the ground outside of the store. So again, that's going back to what I was saying about the other incident with that store owner or that store employee in that other state who chased that kid out of the store and literally shot him like in a back alley somewhere. One alleged shoplifter was on the sidewalk and the other was in the parking lot, although it was not immediately evident who was Steen. Dupree indicated the possibility was not likely when asked whether Steen alleged shoplifting would affect the charges brought against Kemppainen. The reasoning by which police were called out were brought to my attention. Part of that is still being investigated, Dupree said during the news conference. If there was a potential crime that was being alleged, we do know that in this country, you still have to go to court and someone's life cannot be taken. The DA added that the authorities are looking into the possibly filing charges against 3 other individuals involved in the incident. The accused was booked into the Wyandotte County Detention Center and released after posting a $125,000 bond. And that is the entire article right there. And that's why they have those charges on him, because life at the end of the day was lost. So they can't even try to use the self-defense thing on this particular situation, because one thing that we didn't hear is that was there any weapons involved, like a knife, was there a gun or anything? There was no weapons there, so they can't say that there was weapons on Diamond Steen, the black man that was unfortunately taken out. So they can't go with that angle. The only persons whose life was lost here was the quote-unquote alleged shoplifter, at the hands of the person who you see on the screen, who said that this happened this way and that way. So that's why he has these charges. Now it makes me wonder, if he did not take out Diamond Steen, what would the charges would have been? Like, how would those charges would have played out? The bond probably would have been a little bit lower. The charges probably wouldn't have been as high. They say he has one charge with the second degree, and it says unintentional. But at the end of the day, if you already had him subdued with whatever hold you were using, by the time you already have him down, you could have released some of that pressure. Because now it's going back to what I said about Jordan Neely. At that point, it's going to look like that you wanted to take him out, that you wanted to do it, because you know your strength. You do know your own strength, and look at how it played out. And that's exactly how it's going to play out going forward as this thing continues to move forward. But I'm gonna try my best to see if I can stay updated with this story. If anybody lives in or around the area of where this occurred at, and you've heard any more additional information, because it said that it happened in Kansas City, on the Kansas side anyway, y'all can definitely keep me updated and see if there's anything else that needs to be added to the story that I might have missed.